Have you ever looked around your home and thought, why does everything feel so crowded? Not messy necessarily, just full. Maybe it's that chair in the corner no one ever sits in, or the pile of papers that seems to regenerate on its own. You're not alone. As we get older, our homes quietly fill up with memories, mementos, and 100 little things we've grown used to. But over time, even the most well-loved items can start to make a space feel heavy, cluttered, overwhelming. And let's be honest, it's not about impressing guests or having some picture-perfect house. It's about peace of mind. It's about walking into your living room and breathing a little deeper, feeling a little lighter. It's about creating a home that feels like a retreat, not a to-do list. And believe it or not, the things that contribute most to that cluttered feeling aren't always what you'd expect. Today, we're going to talk about 5 surprising things that could be making your home feel cluttered in your golden years, and how to fix them quickly, easily, and without tossing out everything you love. These aren't about minimalism or perfection. They're about comfort, clarity, and creating a space that supports the life you want to live now. So let's start with one of the biggest culprits that sneaks up on almost everyone, especially those of us with a few decades of living behind us. You know that hallway table, the one with the decorative bowl full of random keys, old receipts, sunglasses you haven't worn since 2003, and maybe a couple of birthday cards from last year. It started as a spot for essentials, but somehow it's become a magnet for the everyday clutter. Surfaces like that, whether it's a dining table, kitchen counter, or the top of your dresser, can quietly take over your whole space. Why? Because flat surfaces invite stuff. And when we're not intentional about what goes there, they become silent clutter zones. The fix is simpler than you think. Take 5 minutes, just 5, and clear everything off. Then put back only what you actually use or love, maybe a lamp, a photo, a small tray for the current keys you need. That's it. You'll be amazed at how much more spacious the entire room feels when those surfaces can breathe. And here's the secret: it's not about removing everything. It's about choosing what deserves to stay. Now, speaking of things we let stay, let's talk about furniture. Not the obvious stuff like the big recliner or the kitchen chairs. I'm talking about those extra pieces. The ones that don't really serve a purpose anymore, but you've had them so long, they've become part of the scenery. Maybe it's a second coffee table tucked beside the real one, a bulky sideboard that hasn't stored anything useful in 10 years, or that tall lamp in the corner that never gets turned on. We keep them because they've always been there, or because they belong to someone we love, or simply because moving them feels like too much trouble. But here's the truth. Extra furniture crowds not just your home, it crowds your energy. It takes up space where light, movement, and calm could be. Try this: walk into each room and ask yourself, if I were moving into this space today, would I bring this piece with me? If the answer is no, that's your sign. You don't have to get rid of it right away. Just try removing it for a week. Move it to the garage or another room. Live without it for a bit. You may find yourself wondering why you didn't do it sooner. And here's something else that often surprises people: the clutter you don't see right away. Hidden clutter. Think about what's behind closed doors: overstuffed closets, packed kitchen drawers, bathroom cabinets bursting with expired creams and half-used bottles. It might not be visible to guests, but you feel it. Every time you open that door and things shift, fall, or simply overwhelm you, your mind registers it. It adds to that low-level stress we sometimes mistake for tiredness or forgetfulness. Start small. One drawer, one shelf. Don't think of it as organizing. Think of it as creating ease for your future self. That version of you who will open the drawer tomorrow and find only what they need. Nothing falling out, nothing expired, nothing hidden under 6 layers of just in case. And you know what? That one small space can create a ripple effect. It's not about doing the whole house in a weekend. It's about momentum. Let me pause here and say this: none of this is about shame. None of this is about judgment. You've built a life filled with stories, treasures, and a lifetime of useful things. But now you deserve a home that reflects the present, not just the past. A home that feels light, easy to move through, and peaceful to wake up in. So far, we've cleared our surfaces and questioned our furniture. And we've peeked behind the curtain at the hidden clutter that builds up slowly, silently. These simple shifts aren't just about making things look better. They're about feeling better. More room to move. Less noise in your head. A space that matches the season of life you're in. A season that deserves clarity and calm. So, We've started clearing surfaces and gently questioning some of the extra furniture that's been quietly filling our rooms. We even peeked inside those drawers and cabinets that carry more weight than we realize. But the feeling of clutter doesn't just come from what we see or touch. It often comes from what we've gotten used to tuning out. And that brings us to something you may not expect: visual noise. Now, you might be wondering, what in the world is visual noise? It's not loud in the way a barking dog is, or a television turned up too high, but it's loud in a different way. Visual noise is when your eyes have too much to take in at once. It's the crowded shelves with dozens of knickknacks, the busy patterns on every pillow, curtain and rug, or even the photos covering every inch of the wall, all competing for attention. It may not look messy, but it feels busy. You see, over time, we collect beautiful things: gifts from loved ones, souvenirs from vacations, photos that mean everything, and each of those items on its own tells a story. But when they're all displayed at once, all the time, our brains never get a break. It can feel like a museum rather than a sanctuary. So what do? You don't throw them away. That would be heartbreaking. Instead, try rotating them. Yes, like an art gallery. Pick a few favorites for this season. Display them with intention. Let each piece have space to breathe. Then, a few months later, swap them out. Not only does this reduce visual noise, but it makes the things you do display feel new again, special. It's amazing how refreshing it feels to walk into a room that gives your eyes a place to rest. Now, let's talk about something that gets even less attention: lighting. Poor lighting can make even the tidiest room feel cluttered, closed in, or just plain depressing. Many older homes rely on one harsh overhead light, or maybe a single lamp in the corner that casts more shadow than glow. When a room is dim or unevenly lit, it creates dark pockets, and those dark areas can feel heavy, like the room is closing in on you, even if nothing has changed. Light has a quiet power. It can lift your mood, soften a space, and make everything feel more open. You don't need to install new wiring or knock down walls. Just start by adding a few more lamps at different heights, a small one on a side table, a warm bulb behind your favorite chair, maybe even one that turns on with a touch. Avoid bright white light that feels like a hospital. Instead, go for warm tones. They mimic the soft glow of sunlight and create a sense of comfort. One more thing: make use of the natural light you already have. If heavy curtains are blocking your windows, try replacing them with lighter ones. Or just tie them back during the day. Let the sun in. It's free, it's healing, and it transforms a room in seconds. You might be surprised how much lighter everything feels. Not just visually, but emotionally, when the light is allowed to flow. And that leads me to something that may hit close to home: the guilt clutter. Now, this one doesn't show up in magazines or checklists, but it's real. Guilt clutter is made up of the things we keep not because we love them or use them, but because we feel we should. Maybe it's the sweater your niece gave you that's never really fit, or the ceramic vase from a friend you no longer talk to, or the kitchen gadget you used once and felt bad about never using again. We hold on to them out of obligation, out of memory, or sometimes out of fear that letting go means we're letting go of the person who gave it to us. But here's the truth: your home is for you. Not your niece, not your old friend, not the you from 10 years ago. You deserve to surround yourself with things that support and comfort you in this moment of your life. If something brings up guilt every time you see it, it's not serving you. And letting it go doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're choosing peace over pressure. If it helps, you can say a quiet thank you before letting something go. Thank you for the memory. Thank you for the thought behind this gift. Thank you for the joy it once brought. And then bless it as it moves on to someone else who might truly need it. That small shift, from obligation to intention, can lighten your home and your heart in ways you never expected. As we move through this together, remember, clearing clutter isn't about getting rid of your life. It's about choosing what gets to come with you into this new, beautiful season. It's about honoring your past without letting it crowd out your present. And every little change you make, from clearing a table, to letting in the light, to releasing something held in guilt, is an act of self-care. It's a way of saying, I deserve peace. Sometimes the hardest clutter to let go of is the kind that isn't even physical. It's the emotional weight we tie to the objects around us. And if we're being honest, one of the biggest culprits, one we hardly ever talk about, is paper. You know the stack I'm talking about: old bills, outdated manuals, expired coupons, letters from the insurance company, bank statements you haven't touched in 5 years. Maybe it's on the kitchen counter, or in a drawer, or quietly growing taller on the desk in the spare bedroom. Paper clutter is sneaky because it feels important. It carries a what-if energy. What if I need this later? What if I throw away something important? But here's the reality: 90% of the paper we hold on to never gets looked at again. And it's not just taking up space on your table, it's taking up space in your mind. Every time you see that pile, your brain says, I have to deal with that. Even if you don't do it today, the weight is still there. It builds, and it steals piece one sheet at a time. So how do you fix it? Fast. Start with a timer, 10 minutes. That's it. Set it, sit down, and tackle just one pile. Not the whole cabinet, just one. Separate it into 3 categories: keep, shred, recycle. Be ruthless. Keep only what's current, necessary, or deeply personal, like medical documents or heartfelt letters. Everything else, it's just clutter in disguise. And here's a powerful tip: create a paper home, 1 folder, 1 box, 1 space where important papers live, not scattered in 6 places, just 1. That small shift reduces stress more than you can imagine. Because now, if you ever do need something, you know exactly where to look, and just as importantly, where not to look. Once that pile is gone, look around your home again. Do you feel the difference? That's what clarity looks like. That's what control feels like. You've made space not just on your desk, but in your day, in your energy. And once that momentum starts, it's hard to stop in the best way. Now, we've touched on so many quiet sources of clutter: the surfaces that collect too much, the furniture that no longer fits your life, the hidden chaos behind closed doors, the objects that scream for attention, the guilt items and emotional attachments, and of course the paper mountains that rob your calm. But there's one final piece of this puzzle, and it might be the most powerful of all. It's our habits. Because even when we clear the clutter, even when we make everything look perfect for a day or a week, if our habits don't change, the clutter comes right back. Not because we're messy, not because we don't care, but because we're human. We're used to putting the mail on the counter, tossing yesterday's paper on the chair, or saving things for later. We're creatures of comfort, and change, even good change, takes practice. So here's the trick: don't aim for perfection. Aim for rhythm. Little habits that keep your space working for you instead of against you. Like taking 5 minutes every evening to put things back where they belong, or starting the morning by clearing just 1 surface before breakfast, or making it a weekly ritual. Light a candle, play your favorite music, and tidy 1 drawer or shelf. Let it be soothing. Let it be gentle. Let it be yours. Your home is a living thing. It changes as you do. What served you 20 years ago might not fit who you are now. And that's not a loss. It's growth. It's a sign of life. And you deserve a home that reflects the wisdom, calm, and spaciousness of this season you're in. And here's something else: this process doesn't just change your home, it changes you. It reminds you that you're still in charge, that you're capable of transformation. That life doesn't have to feel so full of stuff. You can let go. You can begin again. You can shape your space to support your peace, your movement, your joy. So don't rush it. Don't pressure yourself. Just begin. 1 surface, 1 chair, 1 drawer, 1 habit, and watch how that energy flows outward into every corner of your home and every part of your day.